Hey Pisces, how's it going? This reading is going to be about what's going to be happening for you over the next 3 days. Alright, we are starting off with Six of Swords. This shows you moving forward. You can be moving on from something. That can also mean too that if you'd been going through a time that could have been feeling tumultuous, or there could have been conflict or something that was being worked out, or there was like some type of drama, it shows you like moving past that now at this point. I am seeing Nine of Cups, so it looks like you are going straight into something that you want. You're going to be feeling very happy about this. You can also too like be making sense of what you want as well. That can be part of this. And trying out new things as a means of figuring that out. It looks like that's what's going to be happening. Being open and being exploratory, yeah. Being open and being exploratory is going to be very helpful in this endeavor. So it feels like approaching conflict or approaching something that's being worked out with a spirit of adventure, or a spirit of trying things and figuring things out and being open to like new ways, and that is going to be really helpful because it feels like things are definitely going to resonate with you and they definitely are going to be aligned. And Five of Wands is sort of like the journey that's being taken to figure that out, like what really is working for me and what do I really want, and being in a place of I'm figuring out what exactly that looks like and what that feels like for me. And if you're stuck in like old ways of I'm trying to go this way every time to figure that out, it feels like it's not going to be super conducive for you actually getting to the point of figuring that out. And so you being open and being exploratory is going to be very, very important, and just like being willing to try things out, to test things out, being open, like not turning things down, not saying no, unless you know something definitely is like that's a red light, a complete no for me. But if there's stuff where it's like, oh, I don't know, I've never like tried it that way before, or I've never gone in that direction before, don't say no to something just because you haven't tried it. This feels like now is really the time to be open, and that you are going to like really find what you're looking for and find what makes sense to you this way. For some of you, this is something that's occurring within a relationship or like a partnership that you have. Who else got this combination? There's a reading that I think will come out on the same day as this, and I think it begins by saying something about like reconciling in it. It had the same combination of the Fool and the Wheel of Fortune. This is going to be a time of growing and expanding, but only if you are willing to. Sometimes we have patterns that we get comfortable within. It feels like if you refuse to leave those patterns that you feel comfortable within but are now like not working for you, if you refuse to do things in a different way, you're going to stay within that conflict, and it's going to potentially compromise things for you. But if you are willing to work out conflict in a new way, to like figure this out in a way that maybe you never have before, to try new things, to be open to exploring, like all of that, you're gonna see that things will change in a way that feels like much more fitting for you and much more fulfilling as well. Like this is gonna be a time of like leaps and great expansion for you, and prioritizing growth in that way. I'm seeing the Star. Figuring out where you belong. I see this as being you stepping onto your path, stepping into your journey more fully. I feel like there's a sense of like reclamation of your path and of your position as well. being hopeful and open-minded is going to be really important when it comes to what you're doing, and also being willing to learn and take on new energies and sort of see what's being presented to you and working with that. The only way that like this is not going to work is if you're like staying very small and refusing to expand, and you're just like contracting, then it's not going to allow for this process to occur. So you're gonna have to be open, and you may be getting a bit outside of your comfort zone as well, but that's exactly what's needed here. It's gonna be really important for this process, and allow it to do what it needs to do. And when you see that, you are going to be able to move forward, and it feels important. And that is what this cycle is about. I get too that maybe there was something going on where you were caught in some type of indecision, but you have to like throw yourself into this and explore in order to figure things out, because this is something that you can't think your way through. This is something that you're gonna have to like explore your way through. And if you're just over here being like, well, I can't figure it out thinking about it this way or thinking about it that way, it feels very much like you're not gonna get an answer doing things that way. And maybe that's what you're more comfortable with, sort of like playing it safe and being like, if I can figure all of this out mentally, then I'll get to an answer. But for some reason, that's like not a modality that's going to be helpful here within this. And so you're going to have to like physically be present playing these things out. And that's how you are going to like reach this new height within your life. But if you're sitting here like not taking action, just like being the thinking man over here with this, you're not going to get anywhere. And that is going to be a decision in itself, because you will be deciding to, it feels like deciding to not participate in this part of the cycle. And you can feel too like things pass you by in that way, then like, oh, I sat there and this was a period of inaction for me, and that's why I wasn't moving forward, because I wasn't making a choice and I wasn't immersing myself within this. And so I was actually just staying still, and I wasn't going anywhere. I wasn't doing anything. And it feels like looking at that and realizing that if you want to move forward, you're going to have to throw yourself into this. And see where it takes you, see where it goes. Because yeah, you could have been tossing and turning like, is this what I want? Is that what I want? Does this work? Does that work? But just thinking about everything, but not like feeling your way through or like experiencing your way through. And it feels very much like you're going to realize, oh, I wasn't getting anywhere doing things like that. I have to immerse myself. This isn't something that I'm going to like think my way through and figure out in that way. Not this particular situation anyway. Okay. So this concerns something that you're currently involved in, something that you've been putting your energy into. It's like a current investment of yours where there could have been conflict that was being worked out. Yeah, you just gotta go for it. That's very much the energy here, Pisces. You just have to go for it, throw yourself in. You may have to be brave. Having the Fool and having Knight of Wands. Knight of Wands is somebody that looks at something and they just have to like go in there and do the thing. Like you have to just jump in. It's about being like headstrong and being passionate and being decisive and like going after what you want or involving yourself in something that you want to be involved in. You like standing and waiting and be like, everybody else jump in before me. That is like really not the way to go here with this. Like you're being encouraged to go like head first, and that's not always, know that that's not always the advice. Like this is very specific advice for this very particular cycle that you're in currently. Like you need to go in here and you need to explore in order to really get a taste of what's going on. Because you may like to play it safe sometimes and be careful with the moves that you're making and try to like figure things out or plan it out or understand it like before going in there. And this feels very much like you have to just go in there and figure it out. Like that's when things are going to start making sense to you. So if you're sort of like outside, like the ring is here and you're on the outside of it, like trying to be like strategic and methodical, you're gonna find that you don't make any progress doing that. Like you don't get anywhere doing that. You have to be inside of there doing things. Feeling your way through. Trust that this is where you have been led. Like really good things are going to come of this. I think like unexplainable things are going to happen in a way that I feel like this is going to connect you with your essence in a way that you could feel like in some ways, like unconsciously you may have disconnected from. Like this is something that's going to remind you of the big picture in the most vast way possible. And it's going to be something that takes you beyond just your thinking mind. Because I feel even that you may have been getting like stuck in your throat chakra and then not seeing beyond that. And you're going to see like the magic of participation and the magic of going head first in something and what ends up unfolding when you're willing to explore rather than just playing it safe here. Like you will see something very profound and very amazing that unfolds, and it will feel like so much better to do things in this way. Feels too like it's going to be the way that you find yourself through this process is going to be so pragmatic, and it's going to be something that theoretically you could have never touched. Like you really had to throw yourself in there and you really had to be involved in this in that type of way. Like be all up in this process. And it feels like that's really the major thing that needs to be seen here. Like having a little bit of faith, having a little bit of hope that this is where you've been guided and like what you're meant to be participating in. Because I definitely get this like sense overall within the energy that you may have gotten to a place within your life where you can feel most comfortable standing sort of on the outside and watching everybody else do things and like judging things from there. And this feels very much like, okay, now it's your turn to like get on stage and do your thing, or like jump inside of here and see what's going on. Like spend time within this rather than just observing it. And that may be the way that you like keep yourself safe, but at the same time you could feel like you're not going to move forward. And you can also feel too like I'm not even living my life. And I think that this is going to remind you of like the joy and the fun and like the play and the exploration and those types of things that you had sort of like gotten away from. And even though this can very much come from a place of like preservation, self-preservation, or like I'm keeping myself safe, you will find that like that your life will stay on pause unless you jump into this. And like this, it's like fun and desire and excitement is being required of you. Exploration is being required of you. Being bold and being passionate is being required of you. And throwing yourself into this is being required of you. And yes, something is being worked out. So it's not like there isn't something to do here. There is something to do here. Something is being worked out, but it's very much going to like elucidate the path for you in a way that you won't be able to figure out if you keep standing on the outside. So this is very much an urge for you to throw yourself into this, to be brave, to be bold, and to engage in what this is in front of you, rather than standing on the outside and trying to figure out from there when you're not even involved in something in other ways. Because it feels like you could have been playing it safe, just being mentally engaged in something, but the rest of you was not really involved, and then trying to make sense of something and not really getting anywhere. And this is the key to you figuring out this process. And it will be something very miraculous that comes of this, is what I'm seeing. Having the Wheel of Fortune, having the Fountain, which is like a very cosmic energy within this deck, and then having the Star, you will feel like there's stuff about your journey that this is the only way you could have connected with it, and stuff is going to start making a lot of sense to you as well about like where you are and what you're doing and what's going on, in a way that I get the sense you may have been feeling disconnected from before. All right, my friends, we are going to leave the reading here. I would like to thank everyone for connecting. Thank you for tuning in. I'm sending everybody love, and I hope to catch you guys next time.